Hey peeps, it's Jedd here from Disrupt Tutoring, and as always, it's such a pleasure to join you. Today we're going to deal with a quadratic pattern with a difference. Here we need to really understand our quadratic patterns in order to get through this one, and it's going to be a little intimidating at first, but as we work through it together, I really believe you're going to feel a lot more comfortable at the end of the video. So they've said to us, a certain quadratic pattern, so important, that quadratic pattern is a really important clue, has the following characteristics. They've said to us the first term is p, the second term is 18, the fourth term is 4 times the first term, and then they've said to us the difference between the third and the second term is 10. Now we need to build our own quadratic pattern here based on the information that they've given us. So let's do that first. So they've said t1 equals p, so we know p is our first term. The second term is 18, which is quite useful. Then we don't really know what the third one is, so I'm going to put a little line there. The fourth term is going to be 4 times the first term, and they've said to us the first term is p. So if it's 4 times the first term, that must be 4p. And then finally, they've said to us the difference between the third and the second term is 10. So this is our third term, and this is our second term. So we're going to put that must be a difference of 10, which means that the third term must be 18 plus 10, which is going to give us 28. Great. Now let's work with our first difference. We always work with a first difference. Okay, so we'll always try and find the first difference when we deal with these types of questions. So our first difference here is going to be 18 minus p. And then we've got a difference here of 4p minus 28. Okay, so that's very useful. We've got a first difference. Now when it comes to quadratic patterns, we know that the first difference is never going to be common. But we do know that the second difference is going to be common, and that's really the important part of this question. They've then said to us, well, what we would do typically is we would find the second difference. So if we find the second difference, we know this is going to be 10 minus 18 minus p, and you'll see why those brackets become really important in a bit. And then we've got 4p minus 28. Okay, minus the 10 gives you the second difference there, which is also really, really important. Now, they've said to us the whole point of this question is to determine the value of p. Now, I want you to look at something. We've got to the point of a second difference. Okay, we know when it comes to a quadratic pattern, we know that the second difference is equal to each other. So in order to build our own equation, which I'm going to do on the right-hand side here, we know that this difference must be equal to that difference, and that's going to help us build our own equation. Okay, so now we've built an equation, and what's really nice about this equation is if you look at the variables involved, we've only got the one variable. Okay, so that means we can solve for p here. Now you're going to see why those brackets are so important, because we need to do a bit of distributive law. So we need to have a negative 18 plus p. If you forget to put that in, it's going to fundamentally change the answer. 4p, and then I'm going to simplify this part here. Minus 28 minus 10, that's going to give us minus 38. Okay, so now we proceed as normal. We're going to solve for p. So we need to get that p by itself. We're going to move the p on the left-hand side across the equal sign to the right-hand side. So that's going to be 4p minus p, and that's going to give us 3p. Okay, and then we are going to do the same thing on the left-hand side. So we need to try and get this p by itself. So we've got this minus 38 that we want to take across. So that's going to be 10. Then we've got minus 18. And then to take that 38 across will become positive 38. And that's going to give us 30. Okay, so that's going to be 30. Let me change to pen. So that's going to be 30. Right, now to get that p by itself, we're going to divide both sides by 3. That 3 did not come out well. Right, let me redo that. 3 and 3. And once we're done with that, we know that 10 is equal to p. And that gets you a really, really, really well-deserved couple of marks for this question. Do you see how well you need to know your quadratic patterns here in order to get to the end? It's all about understanding that when it comes to a quadratic pattern, it's your second difference that is common. With that information, getting to the answer is really easy, but the trick is to know that. So you need to make sure you understand that rule so that you're able to apply it under the exam conditions. Really, really important. A massive thank you to our sponsors for making this video possible. Remember to read all about them in the description below. Also, head over to our website for more of these epic tutorial videos. If you can't find the answer to your question, send us the question and we'll respond with a personalized video just for you. Until the next time, stay epic.